Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm your English subject teacher Zia Hamid. I hope that you're doing well and you are all ready and prepared for English 9's unit number 1 and lecture number 1. So as we did it we introduced all these lectures and SLOs that we will be covering in yesterday's lecture, in the previous lecture. Now we are going to start with lecture number 1, which is about grammar. We are doing grammar because it is the most basic and most important competency that you need to have a grip on. So that's why we are learning an SLO from our grammar competency. And let's see what we are supposed to do today. We will take your questions also. Meanwhile, in the middle of the lecture, you just have to raise your hands and then we will unmute you, or you can unmute yourself and ask your question. So let's read our students' learning outcome about grammar and see what we are supposed to do and how we can achieve it by the end of our lesson. So our students' learning outcome, or SLO, is demonstrate knowledge and application of parts of speech in oral and written communication in varying degrees of complexity. So, as you can see clearly, this is about parts of speech, about our knowledge and application of those parts of speech in our oral and also in our written communication. I hope this is very much clear now. You are already familiar with parts of speech. How many are they? How do they function? What kind of parts of speech we have, right? Because we have studied it before, so it is like a revision, but we will learn more in this lecture. So we are going to demonstrate and apply our knowledge of parts of speech, which is very important in our written and oral communication. And also, we will be seeing that how these parts of speech have some varying degrees. They are different. There are variations and varieties. Okay, so keep this in mind and let's get started. Now here, this is an SLO which is linked with our English 9's SLO with the previous grade English 8, and you can clearly see that you have already you can relate it with the difference between singular and plural, countable, uncountable nouns. It is done in the previous grade. Now, okay, before we begin our lecture, am I audible clearly? I hope I am audible, loud and clear. Now, let's begin our lesson with the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. We have an ayah, a verse from the Holy Quran, the glorious Quran. This is from Surah Al-An'am. It is verse or ayah 141. Now let's see, why are we studying this and what can we get out of this ayah. No doubt, every ayah of the Quran is beautiful and holds meaning, but let us see that how we can apply our knowledge into this so that we can learn any text and understand anything using our knowledge and our prior knowledge of parts of speech. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, this is a translation of the ayah 141. He says, He is the one who produces gardens, both cultivated and wild, and palm trees, crops of different flavors, olives and pomegranates, similar in shape but dissimilar in taste. Eat of the fruit they bear and pay the dues at harvest. But do not waste. Surely he does not like the wasteful. Now, what do we understand by this? Allah is telling us about His uh, gifts that He has given us, a lot of different things that He has given us, and He's saying that He's the one who has produced gardens. They are cultivated, some of them are wild, and also palm trees, crops of different flavors. There are a lot of flavors, crops of different taste, their vegetables, their fruits, so many of them. and the names are mentioned over here, as you can see, and the taste is very different. Each of it has a different taste. So, subhanallah, this is Allah's gift to us, and He wants us to praise Him for this gift. And He's saying that do not waste. Do not be a person who wastes these kind of things, because they are very important and they add a very good life in in ourselves. And surely He does not like the wasteful. He does not like somebody who wastes a lot of things. So, subhanallah, it's a very good ayah of the Quran. Can you spot different kind of nouns from this translation? Can you see that there are different names and so many parts of speech are mentioned? And if you talk about noun only, you can see that gardens and palm trees, crops, flavor, olives, and all these are the nouns. Now, you can clearly note them down, note this ayah, and try to find as many nouns as you can. Since we are talking about types of nouns in this lecture, so this is very important that you identify any type of noun that is in front of you, whether it's in the written form or you are hearing or listening to something or somebody. Then you will be able to identify the parts of speech, and especially your nouns and all these nouns of different categories. Now, it's time to storm your brains a little bit. We are going to think, right? We are going to do a brainstorming session. And in this one, it is related to our main topic, which is about the types of nouns. Now, remember, you have to recall your memory, retain as much information as you can, think about it. How do different things are named? How these things are classified? They are classified into different concepts and in different classifications. Why? Because they each have different purposes and functions. Now, we are learning the different building blocks of English language, and they are in the parts of speech. They are called parts of speech because they are a lot of different parts and categories that make up your speech. And you need to learn about each and every one of these things to understand and to enhance your English language. Now, ask yourself this question. Can anyone name some basic elements of language? How is a language made? What are the things that makes up a language? Yes, there are different functions of any language. There are different purposes. And in order to make a speech, in order to say something or talk in any language, you need to learn about different components and different parts, elements of that language. So it is already done for you. You don't need to invent the wheel, but rather you need to learn it. And now think about the key components, the basic things, the blocks that is making up a language. In this case, it is our parts of speech in English. So it means that in order to have a good grip on the English language, in order to understand it, you need to memorize all these parts of speech along with their functions, different subcategories, how do they function in your speech and in your writing. So think about these questions over here. How is a language made? What are different building blocks of any language? This is your brainstorming activity. You need to think about it over and again until you get your right answer. Now, we are talking about parts of speech, and they are, let's see. Now, what are parts of speech? It says that there are different parts. Now, we are going to learn them. Now, parts of speech are the basic grammatical categories into which words are classified based on their functions and roles within a sentence. Now, every word is classified into something. A word can be a noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb. It can be a preposition and conjunction. It can be interjection and so on. And it could also be an article. So every word is different. We categorize these words into different categories, label them, and now we are very aware. Now, if I see a word, I can clearly say, yes, it is a verb because this word is showing an action. Yes, this is a noun. It is name of anything, any person, or any place. So we are having all these different categories, noun, pronoun, and so on. So they are categories and they make up your language and also your speech. Now, every word has a different function, as mentioned over here, and roles. So words have different functions and different roles, right? Now, we need to see how do they work. Now, let's talk about varying degrees of complexities. Let us say, take an example, the cat sleeps. Now, this is a very simple sentence, right? And it is very much understandable. This is an article, this is our noun, and this is our verb. Very simple. But there are some sentences that are very difficult to understand. They are complex. And you need to put your mind into that in order to understand that. And you have to have a basic background knowledge of to understand this and to use it. Now, let's look at this complex. Complex means a little difficult, a little upgraded. Now, the black cat sleeps peacefully on the soft cushioned chair. Now, you can see that the same sentence, but we are adding more variety, variation, and different degrees. Black is our adjective, the is our article, cat is our noun, sleep is a verb, peacefully is our adverb, and on is our preposition. Article, then again, soft is our adjective. Cushioned chair, this is our noun, and soft cushioned is they are our adjectives. So you can see that we can break down any sentence into different categories, different parts, and we have named them, and they are called parts of speech. Now, let's see how many parts of speech are there. You already are familiar with number one, nouns. Then we have pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. So these are our parts of speech. We are going to cover in this lecture only about nouns. And all these rest of the topics will be covered in the further lecture series. Now, I know that you already know about nouns, right? So here is a passage in front of you. The nouns are actually, they are labeled and they are in the red color and they are bold. Now you need to see what kind of noun it is. First, you need to spot all these different nouns, onlookers. Now, let's see. Not only that we have nouns over here, we also have all other parts of speech. Now, can you tell me what is on? Yes, it's a preposition. Okay. Nearby, onlookers, smiles, group. Now, group, as we know, is a collective noun. So you need to take any passage, any text, and try to label them. Try to circle the words and label them, whether it's a noun, it's an adjective, it's an adverb, it's an interjection or conjunction, or it is a let's say, is it a proper noun or common noun? So you need to be, you need to able to actually understand these different words and their categories. This is your activity. You can do it from this one, or you can take any text from your textbook. You can take something from the newspaper, from your storybook. Select a passage and then just start thinking that I am going to find all the parts of speech and I'm going to label them each one by one. Very easy. If you do this activity, then things will become so much easier and you can easily recognize any part of speech, any category with no time. Now let's talk about what is a noun. We know that a noun is the name of any person, place, thing, or any animal. They are names that if here, this is a pointer. Now, pointer is what I call this kind of thing. So it is given a name. Everything that we see around ourselves, they are having names, and those names are nouns. Okay. A noun is a word used as the name of a person or place or thing. The term thing, now, thing includes what? Objects, and also, now all these objects that we can see, we can hear, touch, taste, they are our things in noun. And now there are some things that we cannot see, but we can feel. Like you have an idea about something. I've got an idea. Now that idea, that feeling, emotion, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling happy. Now can you see happiness or anger? No. We cannot see it physically, but we can just feel it. So anger is also a noun. And sadness, happiness, or uh, discomfort, emotions, intelligence. Can you see somebody's intelligence physically? Can you touch it? Can you taste it? Can you smell it? Can you hear it? No. It is something that we feel with experience. So intelligence is also our noun. So nouns in things, they are things that you can see, touch, and also there are things that you cannot see or touch or taste or smell, but they are also named something, and that name is our noun. Very much clear now? Now, see, this could be a name of a place. This is a diary. I can see it, I can touch it, I can write on it. So diary is also our noun. But here the child is happy. Obviously, he's laughing and he is very happy. Now, I cannot uh, see happiness in front of me, but I can experience it with my experience and my senses, right? Now, there are different types of nouns, just like there are different parts of speech, like nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, etc. Now, there are also some types of nouns, and they are common nouns, proper nouns, good, concrete nouns, abstract nouns, singular nouns, plural nouns, collective nouns, compound nouns, countable nouns, and uncountable nouns. Now, we need to learn all these types of nouns in our video lesson. My dear learners, number 5 and number 6, singular nouns and plural nouns, we will cover these two things in the next lecture, in lecture number 2. And the rest of these will be covered in today's video. Now, all these will be covered. So you need to memorize all these parts very carefully. It should be on your fingertips, right? You should not forget any of this type. Now, first, let us deal with common nouns. What do you mean by common? Something that you can see every day, usually. It's very common. बहुत आम सी बात है, आम तौर पर नजर आता है, ठीक है, आम चीजें हैं, जैसे look, common nouns are words that refer to undefined or generic people, general people, places, or things. Now, can you read this? To school. The girl rode her bicycle to school. Now, can you identify common nouns? Nouns, yes, bicycle is very common. You can see it every day. Girl is also common. Now, school is actually, yes, you can say that. Now, in this sentence, girl and bicycle are common nouns because they refer to general, non-specific entities. We are not using any, we are not specifying anything. They are common things. Okay? Chair, light, table, book, all these are the names of things that are very common. Hence, we call them common nouns. Now, moving on, proper nouns. Now, they are proper nouns. How? Now, proper nouns refer to a specific person, particular, specific, खास इंसान होगा वो जिसका एक नाम होगा. अब वो नाम जो होगा वो proper noun कहलाएगा. Thing or place or any idea. Now, these words should be capitalized. Like when you write your name, do you write the first letter in a small alphabet or capital alphabet? With capital letter, capital alphabet, because your name is a very specific thing. It is a name that you hold and you are different than others. That's why your name is always capitalized. Also, let's say the city of Lahore. Lahore is written with capital L because it is also a specific place, a very particular place, right? Now, Saeed received an email from his aunt Ayman, who lives in Bahrain. Saeed is a specific person. His aunt is also a specific person, and Bahrain is a specific place. So all these are proper nouns. Now we can differentiate between common nouns and proper nouns. Now let's talk about this type, concrete nouns. Concrete is something that we can see, we can touch, we can hold it if it's possible. It is very much in front of us. Okay, so a concrete noun is something that can be perceived through the five senses. So you have your five senses, and they are your sense of touch, hearing, sight, smell, right? Now, concrete noun can be anything that you are perceiving with your senses. And if you can see, hear, touch, taste, or smell something, it uses a concrete noun. For example, camera, water can, table, etc. Now, all these are concrete nouns. They are in front of you. You can use them, you can see them, and also the food, vegetables, your breakfast, lunch, everything is concrete noun. Now, can people who are listening, my dear learners, can you name any concrete noun other than those that are mentioned over here? Can somebody name it? If you want to answer it, then please raise your hands. Uh, yes, chair is also a very good example. So people who are joined us online, can you name any concrete noun? Give me any two examples or as many as you can. Yes, good answer. Moving on. let's go talk about abstract nouns. Now, abstract is something that is not physically in front of us, right? Now, abstract nouns are intangible. Intangible means something we cannot we cannot touch, we cannot hear. Something that we cannot touch is intangible, and tangible is something that we can touch. This chair is tangible, but my plan, if I have a plan in my head, it is intangible. My anger, my sadness is intangible. They are intangible. That cannot be perceived with the five senses, such as social concepts, your political theories, character traits, personality traits, and love, freedom, truth, intelligence, patience, ability. All these are abstract nouns. Now, here we have an example. His kindness touched everyone he met. Kindness is a noun. But what kind of noun is it is? It's an abstract noun. It is intangible. Means you cannot touch kindness. You cannot hear it. You cannot smell it or taste it. So this is an abstract noun. So can you name any abstract noun? Uh, okay. No questions yet? Uh, if somebody is busy, okay, is it? Can you name any abstract noun? Freedom is abstract, and uh, what else? Any emotion that you can say if you're feeling uncomfortable. And now discomfort is also an, yes, happiness is our abstract noun. Good answer. Now let's talk about collective nouns. What do you mean by the word collective? If we collect some things together and then name them, we call it a collective noun. A collective noun is a noun that functions as a singular noun while referring to a group of people or things. For example, family, pile of books, bunch of keys, pride of lines. All these are examples of collective nouns. Now, family is one word, but this is a collective noun because a family has parents, siblings, and all those people. So we name this kind of group a family. Let's talk about compound nouns over here. Now these nouns are two names that are merged into one, and they act as one noun, one word, but they are our compound nouns. For example, toothpaste. Now toothpaste, they are two words, but they are acting as one. A toothpaste is what we put on our toothbrush and then we brush our teeth. Now, toothpaste is a compound noun. Ice cream is a compound noun. Ice and cream. Compound means they are in one group, one pair. Now, you can see all these examples over here. Now, countable nouns are nouns that you can actually count. Yes, you can give them numbers. Let's look at this. A countable noun is a noun that you can count. You can count the number of students, you can count the number of books that you have, and also, see, you can count your friends. Now, all these are countable nouns which you can count on your fingertips. You can give them numbers. Now, in the opposition, in contrast, we have some nouns, some things that we cannot count. It's impossible to count them. For example, water. Can you count water? No. You can count a bottle of water, but you cannot count water or salt. Can somebody count each grain of salt? It's impossible, right? So your sand, your water, salt, all these are uncountable nouns. Now we have some quantifiers. Yes, salt, milk, sugar. Very good answers. Now, we have something over here. They are called quantifiers. Why? When we are using some numbers with our nouns, let's see. Some quantifiers are words or phrases used before countable and uncountable nouns to express the quantity or number of something. For example, the 5 men. What is 5? The number. And it is what we call quantifier, right? Here, some is a quantifier, much is also our quantifier. Now, this is the simulation video that you can watch for better understanding. You have to hunt nouns from this passage or any passage that you like. Just go for and look for the nouns, as many as you can. Now, you can do a small group activity where you can pair up with somebody and search for nouns in any kind of text. This will help you learn about nouns. Now you can find abstract, concrete, and compound nouns in any of the selected passage. Look for all the different types of nouns that we have discussed. It can be done as your classroom activity, or you can take any kind of text to perform an activity that illustrates your knowledge in practical. A worksheet will be shared with you with resources in Chase Academy's YouTube channel. You can look for this worksheet, and this PowerPoint presentation will be shared so you can solve this homework easily. And all these resources mentioned over here, your question bank, skill sheet, your worksheet, presentation, and lesson plan, all these are attached. So my dear learners, thank you for listening, for being so patient. I hope that you have achieved the students' learning outcome that we have learned today. See you in the next video lesson with lecture number 2. Allah Hafiz.